We pick over the bones of the last 3 iPads to see what you get, what's really new about the iPad 7th generation vs 6th, and whether it's worth buying the older devices. Apple's new 7th generation iPad. Apple's new 7th generation iPad. While Apple has just brought out its latest iPad, and used the much-awaited, high-profile September 10th iPhone event in which to do it, you can still readily get the previous models. Even if Apple isn't selling them, you can pick up a 6th or even 5th generation iPad online, and that means you have choices. This entry-level iPad has traditionally sat on its own, unlike the iPad Pro, which always comes in a couple of different editions at a time. This iPad is Apple's way of saying it's simple, buy this one. And at $329, it's as close to cheap as Apple will ever go. Very often, though, it's worth checking out the most recent previous editions because aren't always that much different and, depending where and when you buy them, they can represent more of a bargain. In this case, though, just take a look at precisely how the new 7th generation iPad compares to the 5th and 6th generation models. If you search online, you're likely to find a 5th or 6th generation iPad for less than the $329 that they or the 7th originally retailed at. The last Gen 2018 9.7-inch iPad is currently on sale for $249. Unusually, though, it's also true that you will find extremely little difference between these 3 generations. There are differences that are significant, but really, working through all of these specifications meant wondering what was actually new about the new iPad. What's actually new? The answer, of course, is the screen size. That is the chief reason to buy a new iPad instead of an older model. Where the previous 6 generations of the iPad have had a 9.7-inch screen, the new one has a 10.2-inch display. Half an inch may not sound as if it should set the world alight, but try comparing the two and you'll see the new one is enormously better. And if you don't think that, then try going back to the 9.7-inch screen. Size matters, and 10.2 inches is a better size than the old 9.7-inch. That's also because alongside the larger dimensions, the screen has a greater pixel count so that overall the image quality is as good as it was before, even though it's spread out over a larger area. That's really it, though. You'll see and, perhaps more importantly, feel a performance difference between the 5th and the 7th generation, too. That's because the 5th runs on an Apple A9 processor whereas the 7th uses the A10 Fusion. So does the 6th generation. The only other significant difference you can find between these 3 most recent generations is that the 5th can't support the Apple Pencil. The 6th and new 7th can, though in both cases it is solely the 1st generation Apple Pencil that you can use with them, not the 2nd. Which means this. If you already have a 5th or 6th generation iPad, you're not getting a lot from the new one, and you should probably just stick with it. If you're in the market for a new iPad, though, just go right ahead and buy the 7th generation one. You might, conceivably, save a buck or two if you shop smartly and quickly, but this is one case where you won't get any other benefit from buying the older model. It's just unfortunately also that you won't get a giant benefit from buying the new one, although that larger screen is compelling. Where to buy? Apple's latest 10.2-inch iPad is currently available for purchase from multiple Apple-authorized resellers. In the case of Adorama, the prices shown are the final prices for shoppers in 46 states. B&H is also throwing in free expedited shipping within the contiguous US on 7th generation iPad orders. To compare the latest prices on the Apple 2019 iPad 7th generation vs 6th generation, be sure to check out our iPad price guide.